First impressions are formed within, I think it's 6 seconds, and 90% of that is based on non-verbal cues.
Why do you think it actually matters how people dress in the workplace and you know, what impact does that have on how they behave in the workplace?
I think you're wasting so much of your energy and your brain power on thinking, oh, I don't fit in, I don't look right, I don't feel comfortable.
How can someone still look quite professional about what they're wearing but still have a little bit of them?
If you really want to wear something and something makes you feel so powerful and so confident and so good in yourself, then you should wear it, regardless of what anybody else thinks. At the end of it, you'll know exactly what flatters you, exactly what feels comfortable, exactly what you feel good in.
What can people do to kind of find that one outfit, or is there any tips you can give for people to kind of try different things to find that outfit? Welcome to Career Hustle. I'm Sarika Danjal, and I'm on a mission to help young adults step confidently into the world of work with clarity, skills and behaviours they need to thrive. Each episode, I talk to guests from different industries, break down real workplace topics and share practical guidance on skills, careers and what it means to step into the world of work with confidence. Career Hustle is here to help you understand yourself, explore your options and build a future that feels right for you. On today's episode of Career Hustle, I'm talking about something that people massively underestimate: what you actually wear to work. It's not fashion for fashion's sake, but actually how do your clothes shape your confidence, your presence, and the way that you show up in professional spaces. So today I'm joined by someone who lives and breathes this, Louise Sleightholm. She's a workplace stylist specialist who helps people dress with intention, feel confident in their skin, and use clothing as a tool for self-belief and professional impact. So whether you're starting your first job or trying to figure out your work identity, this episode is going to change how you think about getting dressed in the morning. So welcome, Louise.
Thank you.
So I suppose in your passion is styling and helping, you know, people dress, hundreds and hundreds of people you've helped. You know, where did that passion come from?
So back when I started my first job at BDO, back when I was in my audit, ACA qualification days, I would go to the office and I just hated everything that I wore, literally hated it so much. I would spend I'm someone that gets into the office so early, but I would end up spending an hour just pulling stuff out my wardrobe and then not liking anything, basically going to work, thinking about it all the time, thinking, oh God, I should be dressed nicer, whatever. And that went on for quite a while. And I'd had comments from people as well about what I was wearing, so that also fed into the insecurity, I think. And then I just kind of thought enough is enough. And then after a couple of years of just feeling rubbish, sorry, this is actually such a long story, I'll try and make it short. After a few years of just be feeling like that, I thought I'm gonna just really invest some time into figuring out what works for me, what I feel confident in, what I like to wear. And then I got to the point where I felt super comfortable and I just knew exactly how to dress for myself. And then I thought there wasn't really many people posting on social media about just workwear. It was mainly just casual fashion and stuff. So I thought, oh, I'll set up an Instagram account, and then that was about 4 years ago. And then it just went from there, really. Started then styling people on the back of it, and doing talks and podcasts and stuff about what to wear to work. So yeah, I just love it because one, I love fashion, but two, I love seeing somebody go from feeling not confident to just completely transforming and feeling so good about themselves. So yeah, long story short, it's because I didn't know how to dress myself.
Oh, amazing. But now you're doing such a great job of it. So, why do you think it actually matters how people dress in the workplace and what impact does that have on how they behave in the workplace?
Well, whenever I'm doing a talk or whenever I'm talking to anybody about styling, I'll always say first impressions are formed within, I think it's 6 seconds, and 90% of that is based on non-verbal cues. So I don't know what percent, I think it's maybe 40% is based on what you're wearing, but it's people form impressions so quickly. Yeah. And if you can dress in a way that makes you look credible, makes you look confident, makes you look senior, you have authority, you deserve to be in the room, then I think, well, why would you not do that? And I know from speaking to all the people on social media, all the people that I've styled, that it makes such a big difference. And I think there's also a stat that's 60% of your employers judge you based on what you're wearing. Yeah. So whether it's right or wrong, some people come to me and say, oh, it's so superficial. But I think it makes a difference. People perceive you so differently if you're dressed based on how you're dressed. So it's so important.
Yeah, definitely. And, that's the thing when you turn up for an interview or you're in the workplace, people see you before they hear you, or you know, can see the value add. So it's almost that, like you say, first impression that's so important, and the visual cues.
Yeah.
Your mind starts to work well before you've even been able to open your mouth. The mind starts to work for people you're interacting with.
Yeah, it's so true.
So in terms of, I suppose, you know, certain outfits, they give you confidence, you know. So for example, for me, I've got my one interview suit because I wear it at interviews. I feel like, I mean, I might not, but I feel like I look really good. It gives me confidence. And it allows me then to almost think, right, that's my interview suit. Don't need to worry about that. I need to now focus on what I'm saying, how I'm behaving, and, you know, to really smash that interview. So, you know, how I suppose, what is that connection between kind of what you're wearing and confidence, and how can people really play on that as a, you know, a strength if they're going into kind of workplaces where perhaps it might be quite intimidating, or, you know, an interview scenario? Yeah,
I think the one thing for me and for everyone else that styled is, you waste so much time thinking, if you're going to an event or an interview, whatever it is, a board meeting, and you're wearing an outfit that you don't feel comfortable in, that you don't feel kind of shows that you mean, not like you mean business, it sounds like so like cheesy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think you're wasting so much of your energy and your brain power on thinking, oh, I don't fit in, I don't look right, I don't feel comfortable. Like, such a waste of time. Like, you should be wearing nice clothes and feeling good about what you're wearing. Isn't gonna what's the word, like, you still have to prepare for any room you're going into. You're still gonna have to prepare, but what clothing can help you do is it's that first impression piece, and it's making sure that when you walk in the room you feel good about yourself, and you're not wasting time thinking, oh, my shoes hurt, oh, my outfit's not quite nice. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's one less thing to worry about when you're in an intense situation.
Yeah, I think because you've got things like getting there to the interview before they were virtual.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day when I'd first graduated, I ended up going to an interview, I think it was somewhere down near Kent. And I made the mistake of, you know, wearing new shoes. So I'm on the train, I've got new shoes on, I'm trying to find this. And by the end of it, I was just like, I just don't even want to be here. Do you know, it just took so much away from me. And then you're just also trying to stress about, what am I saying? Obviously, didn't get the job, but that could have had that contribution towards it, because I felt well dressed, but things like wearing new clothes and things, it's almost a bit like you don't realise until it's too late.
Yeah, I did that when I was at EY the first time round. I was in a bidder meeting in London, and it was my first ever bidder meeting. I was so new, and they can be quite intense situations, because you're obviously, it's a not a negotiation, but it, you know, sometimes there is not like an argument, but it can be quite intense. And I was wearing like really high heels, and I love a good heel. I was wearing high heels and a suit that like wasn't particularly comfortable, and I didn't appreciate that we'd actually had 2 bidder meetings, so we'd done the first one, and then instead of getting a taxi, we decided to walk, and I was with 2 men who obviously fine for them to walk, whatever. And I had this suitcase and I had a handbag, and it's just silly things like that, the handbag as well, because so I had these massive stilettos on, which is stupid, but whatever. Then I had this like suit on that wasn't comfortable. Then I had this suitcase and a handbag, and I was like walking across London. And you know when like something's so heavy on your arm, like your handbag, you get like you shake. Like I get like, I don't know if it traps a nerve or what, but I'm like shaking. My feet hurt. Like I'm trying to keep up. I'm out of breath, and I get to the bidder meeting and I can barely even breathe because I'm just like knackered and my feet hurt and whatever. And I just think like now, for example, everyone, like my boss said to me the other day, like, oh, you must travel a lot for work. You must travel a lot. And I'm like, no, this is just my work bag now. It's literally a wheelie case. Because I'm like, I'm not walking around like with a handbag that's going to be, even if it looks nice, it's not comfortable. So yeah, I feel you.
I think that's a fine line between, you know, being practical but also still looking good, you know. So I suppose that leads me on to, I suppose, style mistakes. You know, what the handbag, obviously the shoes were maybe a big mistake in hindsight. You know, what other pitfalls could people look out for in terms of when they're maybe going for an interview or somewhere like, you know, maybe when they're traveling a little bit further for work? What kind of style tips or mistakes can they avoid?
I would say, I mean, if you're starting a job, first of all, the biggest mistake that I always see people make is they'll just buy random pieces here and there and then not actually really know how to put stuff together. So that's like one side of things. But for people going to interviews, it is all about comfort. It's about comfort and looking smart. So if you can get yourself a really comfortable suit that looks really nice, but that fits you really well, and if you're commuting, it's just thinking about, right, what do I want to walk? Do I want to get on the tube with a handbag that's so heavy with a pair of trainers in, 'cause I have to swap into my heels? Probably not. It's just about thinking, just being practical.
Yeah.
Like definitely being practical, because I am so guilty of this because I love my heels. But sometimes it's like just wear shorter slingbacks if you want like that type of look.
Yeah, I suppose it's dependent on the where you're going, what you're doing. That's it, scenario situation.
Yeah.
You've got to kind of use your mind a little bit rather than, oh, this looks really great. And I'm quite bad for that. So, you know, I'll go shopping with my husband and there used to be a stage where I would wear quite a plain suit, but I would maybe wear higher heels that would be slightly different colour. So, you know, I've got a really nice pair of really pink shiny heels.
I love that.
And I've worn them probably twice because actually I can't really walk in them because the heel's so high. So I was like, right, I'll only wear that if I know I have to just get in and out of the car.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty much sat for the rest of the day. Then I will wear those shoes. So I don't get out very much. But my husband's just like, you've got so many shoes and you don't wear them. And I'm like, they've each got their own occasion.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Love that.
Oh, no, that's really good. So looking then at budget, you know, a lot of people feel that they've got to have a lot of money, you know, and especially on Instagram, you do see people wear for workwear, they're spending a lot. It's designer labels. How can, especially, you know, my audience where they're looking at, might be their first job, they might not have much money, dressing on a budget, but still look professional, still, you know, feel confident.
There are so many, like, for example, if I had no money and I was starting a job, I mean, obviously you need a little bit of money, but like if I had 100 quid and I was starting a brand new job and I had to get everything, I would probably go to somewhere like Primark or I'd go on Vinted or I'd go on H&M, go to H&M because you can get a pair of trousers from H&M for like £15. Get a black pair of trousers, for a woman anyway, black pair of trousers, grey pair of trousers, white or cream top, black top, and a blue shirt. That's going to get you 6 outfits.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to be in the office 5 days a week. You're probably going to be in 3. So that's like 2 weeks worth of workwear. Yeah. That will cost you less than 100 quid. And a pair of like, you can get a nice pair of slingbacks from H&M or a nice pair of loafers or something from H&M. And, you know, it's not... I mean, I actually have a pair of trousers from H&M. They're actually really good and they've lasted me ages. But typically, they're not going to last you years. Yeah. But that's fine if that's what, you know, when you're starting out, you do just need a very simple wardrobe that's like, until you start getting a bit more money and you can kind of invest in other pieces. But I think as well, one thing to flag is there was a lot of pressure at the moment, and I think there's a lot of talk about like slow fashion on Instagram, and it annoys me because like some stuff, don't get me wrong, is definitely slow fashion, but I just think it's a really big excuse for new brands or other brands to like slap a high price tag on something and mislead a user, when actually you look at what you're buying and it's pretty much the same as the same manufacturers H&M use, sort of thing. So I think it's just being careful as well and not feeling like you have to fall into that trap of spending loads of money on stuff just because it's like cool or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because, as you say, if you've got some key pieces, then they become interchangeable and actually, you know, people also, you know, they're not expecting you to have a new thing every day, you know, wearing something, you know, totally like a full new outfit. There will be, if you've got a suit, you know, wearing the trousers with a different top, you know, interchanging it if you're in the office, you know, a couple of days a week. That works well as well.
And you can get some really nice just plain tops from Zara for $9.99. So you can if you've got £100, you can easily get yourself like 2 weeks, 3 weeks worth of workwear. Yeah. Quite easily, I would say.
Yeah, amazing. That's a very good tip. So in terms of, I suppose, bringing your personality into what you wear, you know, how can someone still look quite professional about what they're wearing, but still have a little bit of them? You know, it's not totally corporate with your set block colours. How can you bring a bit of you into the way you dress? Yeah, I think it can be quite daunting, quite difficult when you're in a corporate setting to try and get it across. But I always say just add a pop of colour. Like even if it's like a bright pink, but you don't want to wear like a bright pink suit. I mean, wear a bright pink suit. Like, you should just go for it. But, you know, if you want to still look like a bit more like corporate, I guess, wear just like a plain suit with like a pop of colour, or add like a scarf, or add like a nice shirt or some jewellery or like a brooch or something like that. Yeah. I would say. It can be quite hard though. And I think it takes a bit of confidence as well to start wearing colour and pattern and that sort of stuff. But eventually, once you've worn it a few times, like, you'll be fine. Yeah, exactly. And people notice, you know, when you get the compliments in the office and like, oh, you look nice today. And then you go down the awkwardness of, not that you don't normally look nice, but you look extra nice today. So, people notice. And then after a while, I don't think people I think people more so in that office setting, they care if you don't dress well, but then they don't seem to put as emphasis on, you know, if you're dressing really well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you, for example, in the office we've had it where, depending on whether you know, some people you generally see and they don't really care what they look like, you know, so they're not client facing, so they'll turn up back office and they'll have leggings and trainers on, which again is not in our you know, work policy.
Yeah.
But they'll come to work like that. But then you've got others that no matter what, you know, even if they're not seeing clients, you know, suit and tie or, you know, right, nice dress or, you know, something that looks a little bit more polished.
Yeah.
But it's funny that nobody, you know, when you hear comments, everyone's talking about, oh, so-and-so turned up in, you know, leggings and trainers today. But you don't hear that, oh, that person had a really nice suit on, you know. So it's rare that you hear the good stuff in comparison to kind of the more negative comments if people aren't dressed appropriately.
Yeah. I think I've definitely had like the comment around being overdressed, but I just think, well, that's just a compliment. Like, and I don't go around asking people why they're underdressed. So, like,
exactly.
So whatever.
Exactly.
Like, I just think if you want to, within, obviously you've got a dress code, but I think if you really want to wear something and something makes you feel so powerful and so confident and so good in yourself, then you should wear it regardless of what anybody else thinks. And to be honest, they're probably not really thinking. They'll probably think it for a split second, like, oh, you're overdressed. And then they'll just forget about it and get used to the fact that you're overdressed all the time.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I suppose leads me on to the next thing about, you know, that power outfit, that one outfit that makes you feel super confident in that you can be the best version of yourself when you're wearing that outfit.
Yeah.
How do people what can people do to kind of find that one outfit? Or is there any tips you can give for people to kind of try different things to find that outfit?
I would say, and I say this when I do talks and I'm teaching somebody, if I'm not styling them and I'm teaching them how to build their own kind of capsule wardrobe, everybody's so different, right? And everybody likes different things. So I'd say, well, first of all, it is just experimenting. But the first place that I would start is I'd go on like Pinterest, go on Instagram, figure out the things that you like the look of and the styles that you think would suit you, and like, you know, just like create a little bit of a mood board. From there, just highlight the key pieces that you just keep seeing again and again. So you might be like, oh, actually, I think I really like the like trouser shirt look, or I really like the blazer look. Make a list of them and then just go shopping one day. It's a bit of a time investment, but just go around the shops. Like if you're new to the world of work and you don't want to spend a fortune, go to like H&M, go to Primark, just try stuff on, because some people will say, oh, wide leg trousers don't suit me. But there's like 10 different types of wide leg trousers. So it's just experimentation. And I think you get to the point where, you know, once you've spent that much time trying things on, looking at yourself in a mirror, like feeling like you'll start to feel good about certain things, and you'll start to be able to like refer back to that mood board to style things yourself, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it is a bit of a time consuming process, but I think that's what I say. It's just experimentation, and just being really clear on the kind of look that you want to go for as well. Because I think, sorry, it's such a long-winded answer, but I feel like sometimes you can just scroll on Instagram and see loads of different outfits and then just buy random bits here and there, buy random outfits. But actually, like, is that true to you, and is that true to your style and the way that you want to dress, and also the way you want to be perceived? Because if you want to be perceived as somebody that's like credible and has authority and that takes the job seriously, like, do you want to be walking around in like shorts? I don't know, probably not. Do you know what I mean? So it's with the interview suit or the like one outfit, it is just a bit of trial and error, just kind of figuring out what it is that you like. I love a good suit though. You can't go wrong with a good suit that's comfortable. Definitely. I love that we're both wearing suits today.
I know that's like you go to. It's funny when you say that, buying random pieces, because I think that's like my holiday wardrobe. When I go on holiday, I'm like, I like that, and it's only when I get to like the destination, I'm like, oh, I've got no bottoms that match the tops. So all my holiday pictures, you know, they're probably not ones that anybody wants to see, because I'm definitely mismatch there. But it's so easy to do, because you think, oh, I like that piece, I'll do that. But just touching on your other point about, you know, the more high street stores like Primark, H&M, even now, you know, I still buy a lot of stuff from there, and even, you know, it's even better when you get a bit of a bargain. But I remember one of the dresses that I got from Primark was, I think it was in the sale. People gave me loads of compliments. It wasn't anything fancy. It was kind of just like knee length, half sleeve, fitted, but like a slaty grey colour. But yeah, loads of people gave me confidence. It gave me confidence. Loads of compliments, and I think I spent maybe about £10 on it because it was in the sale.
Yeah.
But then it just goes to show, actually, people don't kind of go behind you and say, oh, what are you wearing today? Or what's the label? It's just, you can style it in different ways and no one will ever know.
No, exactly. That's the thing. As long as like the threads aren't like sticking out or whatever, like you're fine, aren't you? Yeah. And it's not like, I know there's a big thing about fast fashion, and I'm not saying like condoning fast fashion. Like, I know it's terrible for the environment or whatever. But I think if you're on a budget and you don't have the money to spend on more sustainable options, I think it's a great place to start.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you said about the mood board as well, in terms of how do you want to be perceived in the environment that you're going into, so whether like it's a boardroom, whether it's your first interview, because we're talking about those first impressions, actually the mood board can help you almost think, right, in that environment I want to be perceived as somebody to be taken seriously, somebody that is genuine or capable. So, like you say, actually turning up in shorts probably isn't appropriate. I'm going to have to look at, more corporate styles. Yeah. Again, mapping that over, I guess, to what you know of the company or how you know that they dress. Looking at the website, you can start to then work out, I'm going to fit based on these clothes.
And you can actually create that mood board. I mean, you can get ChatGPT to create it for you if you really want as well. Like, you can do it like super easily. Or if you've created the mood board yourself, like, just again chuck it into ChatGPT and just say, what pieces do I need to buy? Yeah. And like, where can I get them? Like, which brands do you suggest that I like get them from on a budget? Yeah. So it is easily doable. It just takes a bit of time to obviously like go around all the shops and figure out what works for you. But I promise you, anybody that does it, at the end of it, you'll know exactly what flatters you, exactly what feels comfortable, exactly what you feel good in. And you just never really have to worry about what to wear to work again, because you'll just know. And it's the same for like you said, the holiday clothes. I actually wear my work trousers on holiday. Yeah. So instead of wearing like a polo neck top or like a shirt, in fact, no, I actually do wear a shirt sometimes. But like, I'd wear a top like this, for example, because it's like, I'd wear it in summer. And then I'd wear the shirt, but maybe like a little bit more buttoned down than I would do if I was in at work. Yeah. So you can actually have, I know a lot of people like to keep the work wardrobe separate to the like day wardrobe or whatever, but you can create one wardrobe that works for everything, really. Yeah,
that's a really good tip actually, because you tend to find like before I was very much, I've got this for work, I've got this for, but then some of the summer dresses that I would wear for work, I'm like, oh, that's quite a good one for taking on holiday, and then look at the holiday pictures and my husband's like, don't you wear that for work? I'm like, I know, but it just works.
Yeah, no one knows. No one cares. It's fine. If you feel good in it, then why not?
Exactly.
And it's cheaper.
Exactly. So I suppose looking at, specifically things like interviews, assessment days, sometimes I've had instances where I've applied for something, they've not been clear about what the dress code is. How would you almost play it safe in those situations? Because you want to feel comfortable, especially if it's like an assessment centre. It might be a full day event where you want to, have the ability to kind of move around, and you don't want to be having an uncomfortable suit. Yeah. What kind of tips or recommendations could you give for someone that just doesn't know what the dress code is?
Yeah, I would always wear a suit. And so if we're talking like a more corporate job, I would always go in a suit. And personally, I just choose a black suit because it's easier. Yeah. But you can wear any coloured suit, and I would wear one that feels comfortable, one that's maybe got elasticated trousers. Oh, yeah. And one where the blazer you can move freely. Like, I've worn some blazers before and you can barely even move your arms. So that's the first thing. But I would also, depending on whether you have to travel or not, I would probably wear flats. And I love a sling back flat because I think, or like a pointed flat, because I just think it looks really smart. Yeah. I would also avoid tops that you have to tuck in or faff with, or that are going to cause any distraction whatsoever. So shirts, blouses, if there's a jumper, like, just don't even bother with that. Just wear a top that can be tucked in once, you never have to worry about it again. Yeah. Another thing is like, if you own a blazer, I would wear a layer that you can take off and not feel like, what's the word I'm looking for, like exposed. Yeah. And one that's not gonna, because sometimes at these assessment centres it can be like freezing cold outside, you go inside and the heating is like, and you're stressed and whatever, and you're like flapping and you're a little bit like sweaty, you take your thing off and you've got like sweat patches. So like, I wouldn't wear a white top, for example, or like a top that's, you can see, like one that you could see through. Yeah. I'd go for like darker colours, but that's just like a practical point. if you don't like wearing suits, then I would usually just go for a nice smart top that can easily be tucked in and some plain black trousers and some slingbacks, because it still looks really smart, and just a nice elegant belt as well.
Yeah.
They're probably my go-tos.
No, that's a really good idea in terms of accessories, because not everybody, blazers aren't for everybody.
No.
They get quite uncomfortable, especially now, with a lot of kids these days, in the school environment. I remember before as kids, shirt and tie and everything, but my little boy at all the primary school, he just wears a polo shirt because it's more comfortable for them, and they only kind of get to that shirt tie stage kind of in secondary school. So it's kind of getting used to it, isn't it? So having a nice kind of blouse to wear with just a smart pair of trousers, that would work. So no, that's a really good idea. So the other, I suppose, minefield that post-COVID is hybrid working. You see a lot of firms are doing hybrid working, and then it's almost like, well, what do you wear? Do you sit at home at your desk, when you're working from home, sat in a suit, or do you, are a bit more casual? How do you almost still have that professionalism in hybrid working but you're working from home? How do you, what tips can you give in that area?
I honestly just wear like black all the time, but like if you want to have a bit more colour, just wear a plain top.
Yeah.
Just like you don't have to be wearing a shirt unless you're in some like super fancy job that requires you to and you've been told to. I would just wear a plain top because it's just unoffensive. Yeah. I'd also this is not just like a workwear thing, but it's whenever, and I say this all the time, if you're joining a meeting working from home, always have your camera on. So many people will just join with no camera, and I just think it looks so unprofessional. Blur your background, that sort of thing. But I would usually just, when it comes to workwear, just wear a very plain top because it's just comfortable and easy to wear, and you can get them really like, you can get like I say, you can get them from H&M for like a tenner, just plain top, whatever. And then on your bottom half, I mean, it's up to you whether you want to, you can be like wearing PJs if you want, but you always risk like the doorbell ringing and you want a client call and you've got to go get it, and the client sees your PJs. So I personally would just wear like smart, like my black trousers. Like I would just wear that because it also gives me the feeling, they're comfortable because I've got a lot of pairs of black trousers, but the Abercrombie ones have got a nice elasticated waist. So I will wear them because I wear them like on holiday and casually anyway. So just throw those on. And then, if you are joining client calls, you kind of feel like you're in the like work mode, but you're still comfortable. Because I've heard horror stories of people like leaving the camera on and going and getting a drink and they're wearing pajamas on a client call, and it just doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't. It's almost
you don't want to risk it.
That analogy, isn't it, where they always say the newsreaders have like got shorts on or not much on underneath the desk. And it always springs to mind where I'm just like, you're dressed all corporate from the top, and then you got your shorts or your bikini on the bottom because it's a hot day outside. So it's quite funny that. So no, that's a really good idea. Because again, when you sat at the desk at home and you're at home, it's a different environment. So that's a good point. Just touching on, I suppose, what we said before about interviews, actually, because where we've been doing virtual interviews, so I'm interviewing for a role at the moment, and it's interesting because despite us saying the dress code or understanding that the business is quite a corporate business, I'll have people that, just turn up and online because they don't see it as something as serious. They'll just have a T-shirt on. Or equally, I've turned up to some interviews where I've been fully dressed like this, really smart. And the interviewer's just got like a white T-shirt on and I'm like, oh, am I overdressed? So it's hard to gauge now, especially with like virtual situations as well.
I just think, and I'm sure most people will agree, unless if you're working in a corporate setting, I know there's a lot more casual firms out there that will probably think you were strange for rocking up to an interview virtually in a suit. Like, I get that. But I think if you're in the sort of line of work that like we're in, like most people, if you're interviewing somebody, and I know this, I've had people say this to me as well, they've been interviewing people and they've gone on virtually and they've obviously just not made an effort, like the hair's like scraped back, they're just like, you can just tell they haven't made enough effort instantly. And it goes back to first impressions. I'm instantly just going to think, you're not taking this seriously. And therefore anything you now say, I already have this like negative impression about you. And like I say, whether it's right or wrong, it is what it is. First
just your brain, isn't it?
Yeah. And then if I see somebody that's made a real effort, I think, they really want the job. So I would say if you've got a virtual interview, take it seriously. Wear what you would wear to a normal interview. Wear, like, if in doubt, wear a suit. Like, even if you look so overdressed, you're signalling to the interviewer that you really want this job. I think it's important.
Yeah, you're definitely serious about it. So I suppose that another minefield, which is probably a bit more popular, is dress down day. So I remember when these were first introduced in my old workplace. Now, a lot of people I'm sure are like me. You've got mummy clothes / pajamas.
Yeah,
and then
literally,
you've got
love that.
over the top corporate workwear.
Yeah.
And dress down day doesn't really factor into either one of those wardrobes.
Yeah.
So when we had dress down day, it was almost like, oh God, I'm going to have to go out and buy some new clothes because nothing of mine will fit.
Yeah.
So what advice can you give for people, in dress down to how, what is too underdressed or overdressed and maybe some stuff from a capsule wardrobe that you could then start to use more often?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I say, I use my workwear for like everything because obviously I've got a little one as well, and it's just that's why I wear black. 'Cause it's just so I've got like black leggings, black tops, black trousers whenever I'm with him, pretty much, because I just think it's just so practical. Yeah. But then I've got this like super fancy work wardrobe that I've built up over the years that I love. That's like so not like okay for being a mum because you just get like snot or something on it anyway. But I think. So when it comes to dressing down, the things that not only like I believe you shouldn't wear, or I think you shouldn't wear, but when I've had conversations with people, these are the things that comments are made in the office, aren't they?
Yeah.
But it's like things like I personally would never wear joggers to work. I personally would never wear a hoodie to work. I would never wear a crop top to work, whether that's right or wrong. Again, like it is what it is. And I'd never wear like a super short skirt, but that's just me. That's my preference. But it's also I've seen people wear that in the office, and it goes for men as well. It's like if they're wearing shorts, if they're wearing a vest top, they get comments about that. So I just think if you can avoid those comments, like just do, because it's just easier, whether it's right or wrong. Like I say, just it's easier. But one outfit that I always like for dress down that you can incorporate your work wardrobe with is wear the wide leg trousers that you've got in your work like wardrobe, because most people wear like wide leg trousers. Put them with a pair of trainers that are smart, not dirty, just nice clean trainers, and then a t-shirt, just like a plain black, a plain white t-shirt, and it's just smart, casual, and it doesn't look too. You're not going to look out of place wearing it. You're just going to, and you can utilise what you've already got. And then just like a chunky belt. And I just think that just looks really nice and like easy, really. Yeah. So that would be what I would go for.
Yeah, I think it's easy to forget sometimes where it's dressed down. This is an opportunity for me to just be me.
Yeah.
But then you're also still in the workplace. So where it's that first impressions, that perception, people are still making judgment on what you wear. And it's almost like it doesn't have to be fancy labels that you wear for work, designer stuff.
No.
If you just look nice, and, like say things like clean trainers.
Yeah.
It makes a massive difference.
Yeah. It's so true what you say though, because I think dress down at work is like I don't do it. Even when we had dress down, I just never did it because I just don't like it, because my dress down is, to be fair, I've got my toddler, so I'm wearing leggings or I'm wearing like like a gym top or something like that is not practical for the office. So I end up I just think, I can't be bothered participating, so I'll just wear my normal stuff. It's just like a minefield. Just adds more confusion and like complexity into your work wardrobe. But some people love it, so
it's an opportunity to get all the the fancy stuff. Exactly. No, that's good. So another area I want to, I suppose it links into kind of confidence at work, what you're wearing, is imposter syndrome. That's been something that I suppose is talked about a lot more now. It's kind of come more I suppose more known that is people are more open to talking about it. How is it that people can kind of use what they wear to help almost quash that imposter syndrome?
I think it goes back to, obviously, what you're wearing can't compensate for a lack of like knowledge or skill. And I think for me, whenever I never really use the word imposter syndrome, I'd always just say I lack confidence, but it's usually where I know I'm not particularly good at something. So if I've started a new job and I'm trying to, upskill, or I'm trying to figure out how to like navigate that, or if I know that I'm not particularly good in this area, then I'd always feel a bit like more nervous. Or for example, going into, like I used to go into pitches all the time when I was working at KPMG, and I'll be so nervous, but it was because I'd never done a pitch before. So I think the one, it goes back to, like I say, like if you can eliminate any negative thoughts about what you're wearing and whether what you're wearing is appropriate or comfortable or whatever, that's just going to give you a head start, because you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about how people are perceiving you visually, because you've made an effort and you know that you're signalling that you belong in the room. I was going to say something else, but now it slipped my mind, but I can't remember now what it was.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah, I'll come back to it.
Come back to you later. No, that's really, really good to know, to be honest, because I think, like we say, you've got so much stuff where you have got any kind of big event in the workplace, whether that's an interview or a pitch or what have you. And your mind is just so thinly spread. You've probably not slept very well either.
Yeah.
So if you can start to eliminate things like I don't have to worry about what I'm wearing to work because I'm comfortable, I've got a go-to outfit, it just starts to just make your brain that little less full.
Yeah, and plan it in advance. Like plan it a couple of. This is what I always say to everybody: is like, don't get up and then decide what you're wearing to work because you're just going to try on different stuff, not like anything, and then go to work feeling rubbish. Plan it a week. Like, I always plan my work outfits usually on a Sunday, and I know what I'm going to wear. I steam them all when I've got like an hour, but like toddler free. And I just get it all ready so that it's one less thing to think about, especially if you're like a working parent, you just have to worry about it. But the other thing I was going to say is like sometimes when because obviously it's not just about your wearing, it's like what you're wearing, it's your body language as well. So sometimes if somebody walks into a room and they're kind of the shoulders are down like this and you feel a little bit like not confident, you look not confident, people are going to pick up on that immediately and know that you're probably the most junior person in the room, or that you're nervous, or that they can take you for a ride, or they can like pick on you or whatever. See you as the weakest link. It's like just walk into that room, even if you are so nervous, walk into that room like you are confident. And I know people are, I shouldn't fake it, but it's like you should. Sometimes I remember when I first, because I do all my content creation, I go to like London Fashion Week and London Fashion Week events, which is really fun. Yeah. And I remember just the first one I went to thinking, I do not belong here. Like, I don't know anything about fashion. All I know is workwear, but like how cool that I get to be here or whatever. And anyway, I just decided that I was going to wear a really nice outfit that I knew I felt really good in. And I just walked into the room like I belong. I belong there rather than being like, oh, a bit nervous. Yeah. And I think once you've done it it's like networking, isn't it? Like once you've done it a few times, you that confidence becomes real.
Yeah, definitely. And it's even, things like linking to other podcasts that I've done is like that breathing, that just having that confidence to say, yeah, I've got this, I'm going to do it. And then just walking into that room.
Yeah, exactly.
All makes a different, different mindset. That positive mindset makes a massive difference.
Yeah, definitely. Because the more times you do something, like confidence just comes from doing reps, doesn't it? Just doing it again and again and again until you like become really good at it. So everybody's going to struggle from a lack of confidence or imposter syndrome at some point. So if you can enter those rooms and eliminate any negative thoughts about what you're wearing or how you're like stood, then that's just like one thing off your mind, isn't it? Then you can focus on actually doing the job.
Yeah, exactly. That's the easy part.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's good. So one thing that I've never really been, and I'm trying to get more into, is being a bit more of a jewellery person and matching, jewellery to outfits. So I almost have a load of jewellery over here. I've got all my outfits, and then very rarely do they get an outing out together because I'll leave the house and be like, oh my God, I forgot to put earrings on, or,
Yeah.
So very rarely will they get an outing together. So what are your views on, I suppose, like pairing certain types of jewellery? How much is too much? Because you see loads of things like, oh, that's a fancy cuff bracelet, but how much is like too much in the workplace?
I personally, like, I don't suit earrings, so I got them pierced when I was younger, but I just don't wear them because I just don't suit them. But if I did suit them, I would wear them. Yeah. So I'm very minimalistic just in my style, and also just in every kind of area of my life, I'm very minimalistic, I'd say. So like what I wear is usually very like neutral and very like subtle. So for example, I'm wearing one necklace today and that's like the only jewelry that I have on. And I used to always say to people like less is more, but actually I do not believe that anymore, because I've seen some incredible, and I met a woman at a panel I did last year, and she had this incredible brooch and it kind of had a chain going down on it. And I'm probably describing it terribly, but it just looked so incredible. And she was just wearing this black suit with a white shirt and a black tie, and she looked incredible. And I loved that. And I just thought, what a lovely way. And it was all like, it was a reflection of her culture as well. And I just thought, that is incredible. Like, I just think if you walk into a meeting and the first person someone thinks is like, oh my God, like your jewelry is a huge distraction, then like maybe tone it down a little bit. You just got to think from the other person's mindset. Like if they're interviewing you and they're trying to listen to what you're saying, but all they can hear is your like bracelets like clanging or whatever, then probably tone it down a bit maybe. But it's a really personal thing, jewelry as well. So again, it goes back to like, if you feel confident and you feel your best self wearing a really like bold necklace, then you should by all means wear that for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like quite a statement piece actually. And it sounds as if while she's got that statement piece, the rest of her clothes were quite neutral and muted, so that almost stood out a little bit more, rather than trying to pair that with something a little bit different, and it all becomes a bit messy.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, amazing.
It looked insane.
So I suppose a bit of a controversial one is around makeup in the workplace. So many years ago, I've got a banking history, so in the corporate banking world, I used to remember that the older ladies were like, back in the day, we used to get a makeup allowance where we would have to buy makeup. And, the expectation would be that we had our hair and makeup done and we'd come to work. So, this is probably quite an historic thing that's kind of faded out. But what's your views on, wearing makeup in the workplace?
I just think, like, I love makeup, but I feel like I look like a teenage boy without makeup on. So that's why I literally, if I'm telling you now, if I rocked up to an interview or a job with like, I have like rosacea as well. So if I rocked up, they'd be like, whoa, who is this young boy coming to work? So I just love makeup. I am like the biggest makeup fan. But again, it's just like, what makes you feel comfortable? Well, it's two things. It's what makes you feel comfortable, and is it right for the setting that you're in? If you're in a setting full of people that are going to heavily, if you're in an interview and the person interviewing you is going to see it as a massive distraction, or he's going to potentially look at you and think, like, if you've got bright blue eyeshadow on or something, and they're like constantly looking at your blue eyeshadow, maybe don't wear it. So it goes, it just comes down to those two things. It's like, what is the person that you're trying to like please in the situation gonna think, but also what makes you feel comfortable. And if you feel like so confident wearing blue eyeshadow, and then it means that because you're so confident you don't care about what they're thinking, then you should wear it. But I think sometimes I feel it as well. Sometimes if I'm wearing too much makeup, I'm always worrying like, oh God, am I wearing too much makeup? Am I wearing too much makeup, sort of thing. So it's really like it. I know it's unfair, but I don't know. I love makeup, so I'm probably like the wrong person to ask.
I think I have my go-to. So I've got a set routine. Obviously adapted that as I'm getting older and what have you. But there's certain things that, and even certain places. So like, if I'm going for an Asda shop, I won't bother putting any makeup on. But then if I'm going to work, then I'm like, oh, I better just, put a little bit on and have like my work setting. This is what I do for work. Where I suppose I make it appropriate for where I'm going. So, weddings, I'll put a little bit more on. So like for work, I don't wear eyeshadow. It's just quite like this. But then, for weddings, I'll put a little bit of eyeshadow on because Indian outfits are a bit more fancy. So you have that, so I suppose it's where the audience that you're, the setting scenario that you can kind of use to give you a bit of a steer.
I literally look back and I'm like actually mortified because I used to, when I first started like at KPMG, I used to wear this like copper glittery eyeshadow. Like I used to wear it like all over my eyes. And I'm just like, and I had these like really dark eyebrows. And I'm like, how did I not think, like now that's like my going out makeup. And I'm like, how did I think that was like okay back then? But like anyway, they hired me. So.
The thing is though, it might have been, so times have changed as well. So sometimes, even things that we wear back in like the 90s, I look at that and I'm like, oh my God. But then like, actually for that time, that was, that was in fashion, that was, trending. So it was actually all right because there'd be other people that maybe might not be in the photograph that were wearing similar things. So I think you might be a bit too harsh on yourself there.
Maybe.
With the
I don't know. I look back, I'm like, what is my face?
Oh, bless. So now I want to go through a little bit of a quick fire round. So I've got some cards that you can choose, cool. Any random one to answer some quick fire questions. So there you go.
Thank you. Do I just like take them and then pick them?
Oh yeah, just pick. Yeah, you can pick whatever you want.
Oh, I love this. Heels or flats? What gives you the quickest confidence lift? Heels, for definite. What about you?
I would say heels. Interestingly, which I didn't put on there, sandals at work in summer.
Oh no, not for me.
No, I don't.
I feel like a lot of dress codes say that you can't have your toes out. I don't know why.
It kisses an
also,
accent
I don't want my toes out.
yeah, very true, very true. But I'm with you. No sandals at work, but heels.
Okay, I'm gonna go for work bag. What's the most professional? What work bag do you have? Because I'm like, this is a question I get asked a lot, and like obviously, I've now moved from like having a very nice Mulberry bag to having pretty much a suitcase and like a wheel-along trolley going to work. So what's yours?
Well, it's interesting because I used to have like a separate handbag and then a separate one for my laptop. And now I've just got a backpack. So
Yeah.
my husband laughs at me when I go to work because I've got trainers on because I could go into the, commute into the
Yeah.
office, and then I've got a backpack. So yeah, I do look a little bit of a sight. But once I'm in the office,
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to tell. Totally different
Yeah,
me.
I'm the same. I'm like, I've obviously got my wheel along, but that's only because
Yeah.
like I park and then I don't want to walk to work and ruin my outfit wearing because if I wear a backpack, it just like creases my outfit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it
anyway,
does.
but I would say like if you don't want to be a loser like me and wear a wheel along trolley to work, then if you're starting out from scratch, again, I'd go to H&M because they've got some really good. I think the best ones are the ones that are like the tote bags that you can put some. What do you call them? When you, like not pockets, but they're like
dividers.
Yeah, you put dividers in and then organise it all that way.
Yeah,
I'd recommend that because I did have a really nice Mulberry, but you'd always be like fighting, trying to figure out what's in there.
It's where to put your laptop and stuff as well when you're working from, because it's hybrid working. Bringing that in, it's not easy, and then you don't want to have like a laptop bag, then your handbag,
I know.
and then it just gets too much.
There's a brand. It's a British brand called hang on, what they're called? Law for London.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of them.
Yeah.
They've got some, I think it's all vegan leather as well. And they've got some really good dividers
nice
in. And they're not, I think they're like 200 quid for a handbag. So they're actually not that expensive either.
Yeah.
Fragrance at work, subtle spritz or avoid completely? What do you think?
Oh, I do like a subtle spritz.
Yeah.
And probably a controversial statement is because I live in a house where we cook a lot of curry.
Oh, really?
So even this morning, my mother-in-law's cooking and I'm like, does my hair smell of curry?
No,
So
you
just
definitely
spray
don't.
it. So I tend to have a little bit of fragrance. I keep just a small one in the car.
Yeah.
And then little spritz before I go into the office.
I'm the same. Sometimes I just forget though, which is I need to do what you do and put some in my handbag.
Yes, just have a little bit, somewhere there where you can just quick spray.
Yeah. Hair up or down for a big meeting? What do you do?
I have my hair down only because I do look like a boy when my hair's up.
That's so funny. We both look like boys.
yeah. So hair down most of the time. I very rarely put my hair up.
I feel like do you know what? It's interesting. If I have my hair like fully scraped back, it's never a distraction for me. So I never have to worry about whether like my curls have stayed in or whatever. Yeah. So sometimes I'm a bit of a mix. I feel like I
suppose it depends on what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, and what outfit you're wearing as well.
Yeah.
Definite. Okay. Most underrated workwear item that changes everything.
Oh.
I think like literally just a pair of black trousers that have got elasticated like an elasticated back.
Yeah.
Because the amount of work trousers that I've tried on that just like so like suffocate you when you sit down. I feel like maybe that. What do you think?
I think a belt because it can just elevate that outfit. It's a very subtle thing to have on. I mean, I don't tend to wear belts often. Again, it's like those. I've got loads, and then they're with my jewellery, both crying because they never get an outing. Yeah. It's fine, but I've got So a belt, I think, adds a nice subtle.
Yeah, that's a really good one actually.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Do you know what I also started wearing in not that long ago? Really, those like tops that've got like a bit of they're basically plain tops, but they've got like a little ruched neckline or like a bit of a fancy neckline. Yeah. They just make an outfit that's actually quite simple. Like black trousers, a belt, and a top.
Elevates it.
Yeah, elevates it. So I feel like that's a good one too.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Colour pop or plain?
Oh, I like a good colour pop.
Yeah,
and it's funny because working at my current workplace, I was very much blacks, whites, sensible wear. And then, like you say, when you get a bit comfortable, I've been at my current workplace for about 5 years, and it got to the point where I was like, I'm wearing what I want to wear and I feel comfortable. Plus, the workplace supported that in terms of, if you are still looking smart, you can, wear within means bring a bit of you to the table. Yeah. So where I can with a suit, I'll wear a nice white shirt, or I've got a lot of blazers that are a little bit brighter, but I wear them in black trousers and a white shirt. So I like a bit of colour pop.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty plain, to be honest. But I do have I do have like a bright red suit. I do have like a bright blue suit. So I do love like a bold suit, I would say.
Yeah.
I do have a bit of colour, but it's more like pastel-y or like neutral maybe.
Yeah.
But I think that's just my skin tone, so.
Yeah, I think it's worth going back to your mood board. What works for you? What works for your skin? And how does that complement you?
Cardigan or blazer? This is one thing I didn't mention before. When you were saying not everybody suits blazers. I get that a lot. A lot of women will say, I just feel like, and I'm the same if I wear an oversized blazer. I know this is kind of oversized, but it's a bit cinched there. Like sometimes they will just drown me to the point where I'm like, I look like, I don't even know what I look like. But I'm just drowning in this blazer.
Yeah.
But you can wear like you can get some really nice tweed cardigan jackets, which I think are a really good substitute. So if anyone listening wants to look smart for work and wants like to be a bit warmer, but they don't want to wear a blazer, you can get some really nice like tweedy cardigan type jackets. Anyway, what is smarter for the workplace? I think both are, to be honest. I mean, if you're in a really corporate job, sometimes they say you have to wear blazers, don't they?
Yeah, exactly, which gets a bit faffy because sometimes I think depending on what you've got on your agenda for the day, I'd like to just have like a cardigan on because I feel like I work faster compared to a bit of a clunky blazer as well.
And also with a cardigan, you can wear it over your shoulders. Yeah. So if you're like walking to the office and it's absolutely sweltering outside, you can just have it like over your shoulders and then you're inside, the aircon's blowing, chuck it on. Whereas carrying a blazer, like I always say to people if they're going on a work trip, carrying blazers is just like, it's just a nightmare because then you've got to bring a steamer and it's just... Yeah. You can't just squash it into your suitcase. That's why tweed jackets are pretty good because I feel like they're very thick so they don't... I feel like they don't crease as bad.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
What else have we got? Best blazer colour for looking instantly sharp. Ooh. What do you think? What do you wear?
I mean, I would tend to go with your dark colours, so a black or a navy. That's what, for like interviews and stuff, that's what I tend to wear. For an interview, I'd say dark colours, definitely. Like black, navy, dark grey. But then if you go into an event, I do enjoy beige. Yeah. Like I feel like it's quite, like we were saying, quite summery. Yes, yeah, definitely.
What else do we have? Prints or solids, which is easier to get right. To be honest, if you... solids are easier because they'll go with more things, but you can style prints really nicely. Yeah. I think it's how you pair it. I do wear a lot of prints, but I like wear like a plain suit and a printed top, or you know, if this has got slight box on it, so I've gone for a plain top, which kind of highlights the colour. So it's trying to just match more the colour and not have too much print. Yeah, because they can clash sometimes as well. Yeah, they can. And I think again, if you're worried about or you're not sure about how to style stuff, literally go on Pinterest and go on like Instagram, screenshot loads of things, and then eventually you'll figure out how to style it. Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, amazing. No, that's really good. It's really good. A nice quick fire round. So no, thank you so much for being a guest. I've really enjoyed the conversation. If people want to know more about your styling tips and what you do, where can they find you, Louise? So my Instagram is Sleightholm, which is... shall I spell it? Because no one can spell my surname. Yes, go on. It's SLEIGHTHOLM. There we go. Excellent. No, that's fine. And Thank you for having me as well. I love it. Yeah, no, it's one of those topics that I think if we would be sat here for hours talking about different things, not even just workwear. It's like, you know, that cross between workwear, holiday wear, all of that stuff. It's such a vast topic that we could go on and talk for hours. What I've really loved about this conversation with you, though, is that it's not about labels. It's not about, you know, what's on trend or what's in fashion. No. It's finding comfortable pieces that you feel confident in that actually means you can be the best version of you in you know, whatever scenario. And I think, you know, you've been able to give a lot of actionable tips and hints to people that can kind of go away and start to build up that wardrobe. Yeah. And again, what you said with your wardrobe, building up over like 4 years, it's not something where you need that work wardrobe now and you know, you go and go out with a splurge and get loads of things. You don't. No. You just start to build pieces up over time. So yeah, and I think it can be really daunting when you're starting a new job and you just think, where do I even begin with like what to wear to work? Well, that's why social media is really good, but it's not personal. Yeah. So that's why the mood board and the going out and exploring and figuring out, you know, walking around H&M, trying on different trousers, figuring out what actually works for you is really important. And like I said, I guarantee that if somebody really invests their time into figuring out what works for them, they'll never really have to worry about what they wear to work again. Yeah. And once you've figured it out, that's it. You know, unless you change shape or put weight on or what have you, you know, that's it. You can just go out and start buying things in that particular shape or that style to add to your, you know, your long-term wardrobe. So it's really good. Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's been lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Excellent. So for everybody watching, your clothes are not just clothes. They're a tool, a mindset, and a way of stepping into your future self. If this episode has helped you, please share it with someone who's starting their career journey or just needs that confidence boost. Thanks for listening.